Key, another book about the law of attraction. You can see it looks very much like The Secret. After reading the book The Secret in 2009, I decided to look for more information about the subject. That is how I attracted the key into my life. Book by Vitale. Yes, that's an Italian name and that's how you pronounce it with an Italian accent. Vitale, alright? I actually don't even know how you pronounce it in English.
I'm Dr. Joe Vitale.
244 pages divided in 3 parts and 28 chapters. I read this book twice, the second time for the making of this video, and only in Italian, so bear with me with whatever I'm going to be losing in translation. Alright? I'm doing my best. I am no expert, I am only doing the best I can, I am learning as I'm going, and I'm sharing along the way. They even look very much alike to the point that you can almost confuse them, but they are 2 different books written by 2 different authors. In 2006, The Secret came out, and in 2007, riding the wave of the fame gained by participating to the Secret project, Vitale came out with his own book, The Key. Let's get into it. I must admit that I picked up this book after about 12 years because I remember it to be the book that I read right after reading The Secret. It felt like his main goal, more than delivering value, was monetizing, was his monetization. After all, how can we judge him? I mean, you might have done the same. I might have done the same. Who knows? After all, he was among the authors of The Secret, right? Why are you talking about this book and his author if you don't have anything positive to say about them? Well, in fact, even the first time I read the book, I was able to get something out of it, and much more now that I read it for the second time. Among everything else, The Optimist-Creed. That, of course, is not by Vitale. The most powerful tool of the entire book. It appeared for the first time in 2012 in the book Your Forces and How to Use Them by Chris D. Larson. I enjoyed The Optimist-Creed so much that I recorded myself so that I could listen to it every morning, which is what I was doing back in the day when I was still living with my grandpa and as I was working as a salesman. Gained the awareness that I was the creator of my own experience. I was literally brainwashing myself with it every single morning as I was getting ready to go to work. Discipline. While my grandpa next to me was listening to the news, I was isolating myself in this cocoon from which I knew I would have created my own reality. Reading the book for the second time made me realize, yet again, that getting the most out of an experience, out of a class, out of a book, depends on us. Because when I read the book for the second time, 12 years apart, well, I got much more out of it. When I am translating quotes from the Italian, I might not be as accurate as the original quote, alright? Our convictions determine what happens to us. There is no such thing as external causes. This is the quote that the author uses to open the first chapter, The Lost Secret, with. This chapter is basically the link between the book The Secret and The Key. Here it quickly explains what is the law of attraction and how it works. For further information about The Secret, please check out my other playlist. Unfortunately, in both books, they forget to mention that the real secret at the base of the law of attraction is vibrations.
You are vibrational beings whether you know that you are or not, and you live in a vibrationally based universe whether you know that you are or not. And law of attraction is responding to your vibrational offering whether you know that it is or not. Think on purpose, feel on purpose.
We can also close the book and throw it away since there is really nothing else to add. The secret is vibrations. In the second chapter, The Key, the author explains that our failure are due to the misalignment between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. In the conscious mind, we hold the beliefs that we think we have, while in the subconscious mind, we hold the beliefs that we really have. The key for the attraction and the achievement and the accomplishment of anything that we want in our life is to align these two minds, is to clean up ourselves, ripulirsi, clean up, which is understanding what it is that is holding our subconscious back and prevents our subconscious to align with the beliefs that we hold in our conscious mind. According to the author, cleaning our subconscious up is the key for the attraction of anything we want into our life. Do you believe? Our belief pushes us to do or not to do something. Our beliefs filter everything, and it is through them that we decide if we're going to do something or if we won't. Our beliefs based on previous experiences, based on knowledge we've gained throughout our life. The result is the consequence of our decision and our perception of that consequence. And our decision depends on how we perceive our reality. If we change our beliefs, our convictions will change, and so will our actions, and ultimately our reality. It's always useful to keep in mind that whatever our mind can conceive and believe, we can achieve. And a belief is only a thought we continue on thinking. And once that our belief matches our desire will become our reality. AbrahamHicks. We live in an universe built by our beliefs. In the chapter titled The Law of Attraction, the author mentions some of the work of Hester, Jerry, and AbrahamHicks, explaining that we attract into our life that which we think about the most. The core suggestion of this chapter is that we gotta stay vigilant about what we grant access into our mind. We gotta stand guard at the door of our mind. Think about it. The majority of the content that we consume is created in order to pre-frame us to buy a certain good or service. This consumistic society. So we always gotta ask ourselves why somebody is really doing something. In the chapter No Loopholes, he explains that we only attract those things we hold true in our subconscious mind. Thus, we gotta clean up ourselves in order to attract what we really desire. The law of attraction only works if we feel that what we desire has already manifested. It's what we feel that determines the result of the law of attraction. Is it always necessary to take action? No, not always, but most of the time. The thing is that we don't have to take action, as I just said. We have to take action. We must take action. No, we just gotta take inspired action. Exactly as I explained in the other videos about the secret. Take inspired action. You gotta take inspired action. In the dimension we're in, we gotta act. How many times do I have to tell you? You gotta take inspired action. How about that? How about that? The inspired action is that call that comes from within us when we are in tune with our vortex. When we are in tune with the universe. That call, that inspiration that makes us feel alive. The issue is, most of the time, we tend to doubt it. We tend to overanalyze things. And we end up making the decision of postponing, procrastinating, never acting onto that inspired thought. Because when we take action upon inspired thought, we feel alive. We don't feel like a drag. We don't feel like, oh, we gotta do that. We feel like we are really there. We're really answering to the call of the universe. We are really expressing ourselves from within. We are lighting the spark that turns us on. All right. AbrahamHicks explains that the action part of our life is enjoying that which we have created through our thoughts. That's pretty awesome. So the creation of our thoughts is the inspired action. And the enjoyment is the application, is us acting upon that inspired thought. Makes sense? Makes total sense, guys. The law of attraction doesn't necessarily manifest like this. We gotta take inspired action. The universe is always there ready to help us. Then our beliefs come into place and mess everything up. So we gotta take inspired action. It is crucial to be willing to take action upon that inspiration. And if we are cleaned up, as the author says, we will be able to attract that which we desire and even more. I barely spoke any English. I was selling chips for a company in Italy, like the one that you have here in the States that you call Lay's. And I went from selling chips to buying houses in Florida. When I left with this idea, everybody thought I was crazy. But I knew it was the right thing for me to do. I just left. Also because, as Les Brown says,
what people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination.
The only thing we gotta do is take action. We can and we have to ask the universe anything we want to without any limitations or restrictions. And as soon as the opportunity presents itself, we gotta act on the opportunity we've attracted in order for the universe to allow what we desire into our life.
And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe, that I can do what I want to do.
I remember when I was a waiter together with my wife and she was still working as a receptionist, we were talking about, literally dreaming about how to come to America, probably because of all the movies and all the programming we received growing up as kids.
So he traveled across the sea to the land of opportunity, which is where the fairy tale ends and our story begins. In America.
If those movies were about China, now we might have ended up in China. I don't know.
Very American.
No, Juergens. It's very smart.
Coming to America.
So anyhow, we were thinking and chatting about it would be awesome to live in Florida. It would be great to live in California. But what are we gonna do over there?
It's possible I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity and reinvent my life. It's possible. Regardless of where I am, the things can get better for me. It's possible.
Without questioning too much, we attracted people and opportunities into our life that we acted upon right away and allowed us today to be here living our dream.
Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself. It's possible. Because what does that do? It begins to change your belief system. The way in which we operate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a manifestation of what we believe, what's possible for us. Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life.
Although I barely spoke any English and I didn't have any knowledge about the real estate world, we didn't question what if this is not gonna work out, what if that is not gonna work out. We just took everything we had, which was nothing, and we went. And today, after about 10 years, we talked about it among ourselves many times. If we had known what we had to go through, we wouldn't have done it. But it was worth it. Why was it worth it? Number one, no regrets.
That's my credo, no regrets.
Like not even a single letter.
Number two, we're living our dream. We are happy. And as I said in one of the videos about the book, The Secret, inner happiness is the fuel to success. I would actually say that inner happiness is success. To be successful in life, all you have to do is whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. Be happy now. Feel good now. There is nothing else we have to do. And that's what we're doing. We're living our dream. Now, I'm not saying that this is what you have to do, but I'm saying that if you want to, you can.
When you got an idea, you want to move on. You might not have the money. You might not have the education. You might not have the support or the resources you need. Here's what I want you to repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. What I'm suggesting that you operate out of a larger vision of yourself, I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do.
Wow, that's a lot of Les Brown.
That's what she said?
And it's not even part of the book at all. What can I do? I connect so much more to his delivery style and his message than I do to Vitale's that it just got the best of me. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Hey, that's what she said.
Why material things? Which is the title of the next chapter. Even material things have a spiritual essence. Everything, as I explained in one of my other videos, is made out of energy. Dr. Ben Johnson explains us that there is the universe, there are the galaxies, and there are the planets. And then there are individuals. And the individuals have a body. The body is made out of organs. The organs are made out of cells. Cells are made out of atoms. And atoms are made out of energy. Everything is made out of energy. And energy never dies. Energy never gets destroyed. Energy only changes shape and form. We are energy fields that vibrate at a certain frequency. And our frequency is based on the vibration of the thoughts we think. Ourselves, as human beings, are material beings that have a energetic, a spiritual essence. Learning to attract things, material things into our life allow us to understand how the law of attraction works, and this way the material things will help us to awaken ourselves and our powers. As the author explains in this chapter, your threshold of merit. I would have said our threshold instead of your threshold, but whatever. In this chapter, he explains that our reality is based on our beliefs and on the perception that we have of things. And of course, our perception is based upon our beliefs. I'm gonna read this one, translating it from the Italian, which is already a bit of a challenge because I want to get it right. Don't look at society as a model for behavior and value. It's a pretty cool quote.
No matter how much people had, they still want more.
Fictitious lifestyle fuels this sense of inadequacy.
All of us are following a toxic dream.
Also because if we are going to create a perception of the world based on what they're feeding us through the mass media, well, it will definitely be distorted. Big time. We gotta stand guard at the door of our mind. It is us who limit the extent of our happiness. As AbrahamHicks says, life will only be as good as you allow it to be. All the limits we think we have for ourselves and for our society come from our beliefs that determine our perception. As we change what we believe to be possible and or impossible, we change the possibility to create our reality. If we can see with our mind what we can see with our eyes, we will be able to see what for others is invisible. And if we can see the invisible, we can achieve the impossible. Tanta roba. Everything depends on us. Always. Everything depends on us. And on the perception that we have on things, which is based on our beliefs. Thus, by changing our beliefs, we can change and improve the way we impact and create our reality. Personal development. Everything depends on us. All our limits are based on the perception that we have of ourselves and of things. The realization of this, Vitale explained, is so that we can be happier. The final goal of anything we do is happiness. And the key to happiness is our spiritual awakening. And through our spiritual awakening, we are going to realize that the only obstacles we find on our way are those that we place there, are those that we create for ourselves. They are an illusion. The only rule is to have fun. Just do what feels fun. Just do what you like. Expecting miracles. The title of this chapter. Something happens only if we truly believe that He will. And it is believing that He will that makes it happen. It is the way we see the world that creates the world we live in. Our personal development depends on us. It is us who decide what we want to do. Think bigger. The title of the last chapter of this first part. If we don't know that we can't, then we can!
Say yes! Say yes! Say yes!
So if our intentions include the well-being of others, they are more powerful. Every time that we have clear in our mind what it is that we want to attract, we start attracting opportunity for its manifestation. Once that we know what we want, we start to pay attention to the evidence of its manifestation in our life. And it is by attracting this evidence into our life that we are attracting the opportunities for us to allow even more of it into our reality. In the second part of the book, the author introduces us to 10 methods to clean ourselves up and to attract anything we want in our life. Each method ends with an exercise to make sure that we get the most out of it, because we don't learn through words.
Words don't teach. It's life experience that teaches.
And this makes the book even more practical. A mistake I make myself very often is that I tend to think that I'm going to be happy once I get there. I'm going to be happy once I get that thing. I'm going to be happy once that I'm going there. Instead, we can only be happy here, in the present moment, right now. We gotta enjoy the process. We gotta enjoy the moment. It's all we have. That's why we call the now the present. That's what it is. We cannot take any moment we have for granted. The present is all we have. The first method is about gratitude. By appreciating the gift of the present, we're going to appreciate the next one even more. We gotta learn never to take anything for granted. We have to appreciate, be grateful for what already is while creating what's coming, while pursuing what is next. As AbrahamHicks says,
Now, you're standing in a now that's rich right now, but isn't finished right now, and you're not longing for some future event in order to fill the void, because there isn't a void now, because you're satisfied in your now and eager for more.
The first step, says Joe Vitale, is gratitude. To know more about the difference between gratitude and appreciation, check out this video. Even in this case, AbrahamHicks says it best. The better it gets, the better it gets. There is always a reason to be grateful about something. It's only up to us to focus upon it, to have the willingness to look for it. This is how we are going to attract even greater blessings in our reality. We just have to want to see it. Feeling appreciative for what is makes us realize that the miracle is already unfolding. If we're not happy for what we have already, we are not going to be happy for what we're going to have. It really becomes a vicious circle. The second method is about our beliefs. What we believe is what we create. Joe Vitale explains that every time that we don't obtain something that we desire, we feel a negative emotion. We feel frustrated. We feel angry. And with the participation of Mandy Evans in this method, they explain that every time that we don't achieve the outcome that we hoped for, we feel a negative emotion. We feel frustration, anger. And the only thing that we can do about it is, instead of trying to change something that has already happened, we can simply try to change the way we perceive what has already happened. As Jim Rohn says,
it's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. So it's not what happens. What happens happens to everybody. You can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Philosophies that changed my life.
How about that? How about that? Yeah, instead of trying to change what has already happened, we can change the perception that we have of it and go with the flow. The vision, the perception that we have of our reality is based upon our beliefs. And we can change our beliefs simply by changing our thoughts. Because a belief is only a thought that we keep on thinking. They end this method by saying that happiness is the first prize of this game we call life. And we can get it by ourselves. I ended this chapter by taking the following note. All it takes for us to make these improvements for ourselves, is the willingness and the discipline to take the time to go within. To understand and get the most out of this method, we gotta do some self-analysis. For the way I see it, some of these methods tend to be a bit over-explained and over-complicated just for the purpose of making them sound more important, probably. Like method number 3, bringing our thoughts to light. Then they also said your instead of our, but whatever. The 5 steps to clean yourself up through cognitive activity. La Madonna de! Explained it very briefly, very easily, very simply. Every time that we realize that we don't feel the emotion that we would like to feel, that we don't feel happy, all we have to do is to switch our attention to our unconscious thought so that we can consciously pick a thought that makes us feel better. Like AbrahamHicks says, think good feeling thoughts. That's all there is to it. Method number 4 is my favorite. It's reading. Reading is one of the most powerful practices. Reading allows us to open our mind, to broaden our views, and it is by doing this that we can get rid of our weakening beliefs. Quoting Einstein, our minds are like parachutes. They only work when they open. Even in this case, Joe Vitale mentions and suggests the material by Hester, Jerry, and AbrahamHicks. All we have to do is relax and read. Method 5. I love you. I love you. I love you. This is the technique that he explains further in his book Zero Limits. The Ho'oponopono. We are the result of our past experiences, which means that we are attached to our past, which is why we tend not to act upon inspired thought. We tend to process everything based on our past experiences and the fears connected to them. This is why we rarely allow ourselves to take inspired action. According to the author, is by embracing past mistakes and letting them go, by telling them that we love them, that we will be able to clean ourselves up and thus allow ourselves to take inspired action. And by freeing ourselves of our problems, those problems will disappear in other people as well. Because it's all a matter of perception anyway. Things don't happen out there. Things only happen within us. The world outside is a reflection of how we feel. As within, so without. We receive that which we feel. Method 6. Chisel out your problems. This method is about tapping, which is a practice that I had the chance to learn while I was practicing martial arts. My teacher, Sifu Sean, at that time explained me exactly as explained in this book, that if we are to repeat a mantra or a positive affirmation that we want to sink into our subconscious while we are tapping certain areas of our body, those affirmations and those beliefs will sink into our subconscious more rapidly. Tapping on some key points, we rebalance the energy and we clean our blockages. And of course, they explain which are some of the key points. Method 7, as far as I understand, is about visualization. The word is human imagination that flew outside. Fantastic. We create our reality through our imagination. If you think about it, when we want to change something, we are imagining it differently and then it materializes. We are creating it, but we are creating it because there was a thought at the base of it. We imagine that thought. We elaborated that thought with our imagination. We have to feel as if what we want to manifest already existed.
Key phrase, faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. And that's how things exist. How did this hotel get here? Someone saw it while the property was vacant. So it's possible to see things that don't yet exist.
Our external world is a reflection of our inner world. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's up to us to enjoy what we desire in our mind while we are attracting it and creating. Feeling something accelerates the process of attracting it. It's like acting a part in this life experience. So we gotta keep in mind that we can act it the way we want it. The world is our playground, after all.
So give me a stage where there's bullhead and rage, and though I can fight, I'd much rather recite. That's entertainment.
Method 8. Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
This method helps us to let go of the past. By stop judging ourselves, we free ourselves. Anything that has happened in the past hasn't happened to us. It has happened for us. It brought us here. It helped us grow. It allowed us to awaken. It is part of the path that brought us here. Now, to get better, to improve, to develop. Even this method is further explained in the book Zero Limits. Method 9. Our body talks. As AbrahamHicks says, our body is the reflection of the balance of our thoughts. This quote fits in perfectly with the title of Method 10. Our body is the materialization of our mind. This method has to do with emotions. They explain that each emotion has a lesson within. And it is by understanding and learning this emotion that we can prevent the same experience. We gotta learn from each experience, exactly as Jim Rohn explains.
Don't beat yourself to death with your past, faults, failures, losses. Let the past be a school, harsh school maybe. What else is new? Let the past be a school master to teach you, not to threaten you, but to teach you.
We gotta get from each day instead of letting a day go by. By the same token, we gotta learn from each emotion, from each experience, even the painful one, instead of just going through them. They further explain that if there is something that we are afraid of, then we gotta do it, we gotta tackle it. As Anthony Robbins says, if you can't, then you must. And if you must, then you can. Say yes! Say yes!
Say yes! Say yes! Say yes!
The third part of the book, titled The Miracles, it's all about miracle coaching, which is the group, I guess, the club that Joe Vitale has. So the third part is basically a big commercial of his coaching, of his classes. Even in this third part, if you want to, you can find valuable content. By reading these bits of interviews and chats that he had with some of his students, we are exploring further all the main points that he touched upon previously in the book. As each video of mine, I'm not trying to prevent you from reading the book. I am encouraging with this video to read the book. My videos are no substitution for the experience that you can have by reading the book yourself. A good point that the author makes in this last part of the book is about the perception of ourselves. He explains that we should perceive ourselves as the sky, and all our trouble or our thoughts or our worries are simply the clouds going by. It's a very useful and powerful approach to life. As he said, he has learned from Deepak Chopra.
So sit comfortably with your eyes closed.
Everything that we believe to be external, it's an illusion.
Allow your mind to become one with your breath.
Pick it up, bro.
Nothing exists that's external, including people. As Bill Hicks says, we are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. We are the projection of ourselves.
We are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves.
Another point that I found particularly useful for myself especially is that everything that we don't like in somebody else are those characteristics that we don't like in ourselves. Because as they explain, everything on the outside is the projection of ourselves. We have to take responsibility for everything that happens in our life. He explains, the energy arrives to me. It goes through me. I filtrate it through my beliefs and I create the results. But the results are not objective. The results are a matter of my perception, based on my beliefs. By changing myself, I change those results. That's what he said. We gotta let others be as they are, because they're only a projection of ourselves. The entire world is within us, and by healing ourselves, we're healing the world. Heal the world. He also touches upon the counterintention, which is that intention that sits in our subconscious mind and often defeats the intention that we have in the conscious mind. The easiest of the examples is when at the beginning of each year we tend to sign up for the gym and then we don't go. I personally had an experience exactly like it. I signed up paying ahead of time for an entire year back when I was a salesman, ending up going out of 365 days in a year only 3 times. And after time, I changed myself to the point that I became an accomplished marathoner.
You're a marathoner!
My best time is actually 3:02. I did not qualify for Boston.
Our second place
Yeah.
overall finisher in our marathon today, Elia Rutu!
And I actually ran a 100K ultra marathon in 9 hours and 33 minutes. This is simply to explain that these goals were not important for the athleticism itself. These goals were important for my mind.
What does it mean?
Get something you can do.
Because I was training my mind just as much as I was training my body. By becoming the athlete that was able to accomplish these achievements,
It's only about finishing now.
I have to become more reliable to myself. I had to be disciplined enough to go from training 3 times out of an entire year to train 6 times a week, often more than once a day. As Jim Rohn explains, it's not about the goal, but it's about the person that I had to become to accomplish those goals. Perfect example. And if I did it, you can do it because if you want to, you can.
Elliot, second. It's amazing.
He also talks about how to attract money. He explains that to attract money, all we have to do is focusing upon what we love doing. By doing what we love and focusing on what we love first, we will attract wealth into our life as a simple natural consequence. He also explains, which is a subject that I particularly have at heart, and we're going to talk about it in the future through other books, that money, currency especially, is only a tool of exchange. Currency itself does not have any value at all.
In 1971, the US and Nixon convinced the entire world to replace gold and silver with paper money. This stuff. Cash is trash.
The Federal Reserve has been given the power and the authority to create money out of thin air.
It's in our Constitution that only gold and silver can be money in the United States, and that the Federal Reserve notes are illegal, unconstitutional money that we're not supposed to be using.
They don't even have to print this trash in it.
Right.
It's electronic.
The only value that it holds is based upon the perception that we have of it. I would highly recommend you reading The Creature from Jekyll Island by Edward Griffin. But if you don't want to go through it, since it's a very long book, don't worry. I will soon enough prepare a video about it. It is true that for the first years here, while pursuing the American dream, we struggled a lot. Our major focus was making money, and probably also because of this reason, we were focusing on the lack of it, and we struggled a lot. But now that we reached a comfortable lifestyle, we're focusing much more on the enjoyment of doing what we're doing. And the financial abundance is coming more naturally as a direct consequence of it. He also talks about emotional freedom. He talks about emotion like programs that we have in our mind that are pro-life, pro-survival. Oftentimes, though, they prove themselves to be anti-survival. In fact, instead of being used by us as indications for us to change, to pivot our focus, we tend to let them control us. Instead of controlling our emotion, we let them control us. We gotta remember, as I explained in one of the videos about The Secret, because it's from The Secret that I learned this, that emotions are generated in our mind, then are felt through our body because of the sensations that they create. Once again, AbrahamHicks says it best. Our body is simply the reflection of the balance of our thoughts. If we don't like the way we feel, if we don't enjoy our emotions, we can simply change them by changing our thoughts, by switching our focus. The choice is always ours. And there is only one moment in which we can change our thoughts right now. Think about the word emotion. Energy in motion. When we let go of a negative emotion, we feel lighter, we feel more free, because it disappears. By the same token, when we let go of a positive emotion, we feel more energized, more pumped, more alive, more excited, because it expands, it grows. Our true self is pure joy.
Buongiorno, principessa!
It is at this point that the author asks us a very interesting question. Have you ever considered how you would be free of all those thoughts or those worries that, by the way, we create for ourselves? Well, we would be happy. We would be pure joy. Because that is our essence. Because that is what we are. Or positive emotions are our true self. He also points out that our mind tends to label and judge everything. And in the moment we let it do that, we lose the awareness of the present. Everything is peace and silence. That's the nature of true awareness, which manifests itself when the mind is at peace. The end of this last part, which is also the conclusion of the book, is about 17 techniques to free ourselves from negative thoughts and emotions. For the way I perceive it, this is an overdoing. Like, we don't need 17 techniques to just realize, as AbrahamHicks puts it, that if you want to feel better, you gotta think good thoughts. Period. That's all there is to it. If you don't feel good, you're not thinking positive thoughts. You're not thinking uplifting thoughts. As soon as you consciously realize this, change it. Pivot your focus. Think positive thoughts. Period. No need for 17 techniques. In more than one occasion, he mentions Hester, Jerry, and AbrahamHicks as well. I mean, how can't you? This is the law of attraction, guys. They are the source of the law of attraction. In 2006, The Secret came out, and in 2007, Joe Vitale rode the wave, coming out with the book The Key. Awesome job. Great marketer, probably much better marketer than he is a teacher, but again, don't put me on that. The frustrating part is that a lot of the books in today's society have mainly been written as if they were just a big business card, with the sole goal of introducing the authors so that he can better sell his products or his service or his class instead of being written with the purpose of delivering value. And probably this book has been written for this very reason. First of all, in all my videos, I'm only sharing my experience and my personal opinion, which you can agree with or you may not agree with. I don't personally know Joe Vitale. He may be the greatest human being ever.
That's what she said. Or he said.
I can only share what is the perception that I have of him after reading this book.
You know me because I was in the movie The Secret. I've been in about 15 more movies. You might have known me because of my books. I wrote The Attractor Factor, Zero Limits. The most recent book is The Awakened Millionaire. But I've written about 50 other books as well.
Also, please keep in mind that my knowledge of his teachings is very limited. This is the only book by Joe Vitale that I actually read. I also have another book by him, Zero Limits, but I haven't read that one yet. I only picked up this book again to make this video. In fact, after reading it for the first time in 2009, I didn't have a very positive memory. I remember being extremely disappointed with it because it was clear to me at that time how this book was clearly an attempt by the author to monetize on the exposure that he had gained by being part of The Secret, more than it was about delivering value to his audience. I was very disappointed. Also because the majority of the content in the book is not by Joe Vitale, is by other teachers that he has learned from and that he has reported the material of. It is useful and it's normal to mention other people's material. At the same time, though, it's very important how we do it. And I don't enjoy the way he does it. However, I must admit that I admire the fact that the author explains and clearly points out where he got his content from. A lot of gurus these days pretend that they are reinventing how to make the water boil, as we say in Italian. He actually explains that I got this from this guy, and this from this guy, and this from this other guy, not pretending that it was all his stuff, that it wasn't all flower from his own bag, as we say in Italian. We'll see. I really despise those people that pretend to know it all or that they did it all by themselves and on their own. Here in America, guys, you keep saying that there are plenty of self-made millionaires, self-made successful people. There isn't such a thing, guys. The only things that we do completely on our own are those things that we do in the bathroom. Everybody needs everybody else. We're all an ecosystem. In more than one occasion, I felt like the author was talking down to the reader, was talking down to people. He kept on writing, you do this, you do that, you are part of the universe. What do you mean? You aren't? My point is that we would have sounded better. I personally tend to make the mistake of always saying I way too often. But at the same time, I am not a writer. And it felt weird to me that such a well-known author kept on pointing the fingers as if he were above us all. So why should you read this book? Well, there is nothing that you have to do or that you should do. You just gotta do whatever makes you feel better. So if you enjoy The Secret and you feel like taking the next step, you're eager to learn more and to hear about what other authors have to say about their own experience with the law of attraction, well then, go get it. I have an entire playlist of videos about the book The Secret, should you be interested in checking that out. Link in the description. Be better with books.
This video has been brought to you
by us at
Real Estate Helpful Solutions.
We buy houses, helping people. Before deciding what book I'm going to be talking about next, I only go through the list of books that I've already read, and I determine if I would like to talk about that book based on the experience that I had with it and how much I was able to get out of it myself. I never look how famous the author is or how many copies the book has sold. I couldn't care less. I am only doing this for myself because I'm enjoying it and because I hope that by sharing my experience with books and with life, I can inspire somebody else to improve and develop themselves, to grow, to be better, to do better. All right? That's a lot. Be the change you want to be in the world. So if you want to be better, you can be better. Be better with books.
love with you, I got places to go. People think time is precious, I look at my body out of control.
Hoorah! Hoo-ha! Hoo-ha! Our conviction determines what happens to us. What happens to us with an H? To us.
Per cortesia, me lo ripeti ancora.
What happens to us? Us. Why? Because I have an H and then I move the H in happening to us. Seriously?
Mi scusi con me?
What happens to us? To us. This is Arabic, not even German.
Bravo, bravo.
We attract. If we feel like we already have what we desire. One more time. One more time. Only works if we feel.
I just wanna feel real love, feel the home that
If we feel. The law of attraction doesn't necessarily manifest like this. Dai, dammi. Never acting upon what acting. Actum vita.
Bezirksschornsteinfegermeister.
Never acting upon that inspired action, which is what really makes us feel alive. Look at me now. Take a look at me now.
So take a look at me now.
What did I say? Inspired action. Yeah, but that's what it's called. Inspired action. Azione ispirata. Ah, okay, good point. Fuck, I have to redo it all. All our limits. All our limits. Because I gotta remember the S's, so I put too many to make sure that I have them all where I missed them. All our limits are based on the perception. Did I say it right? Through cognitive activity. So, il microfono, guarda, is shaking like a leaf.
Like a leaf on a tree.
Like a leaf on a tree. I'm all shook up. Yeah. It's not like a leaves on a tree, it's like leaves on a tree. But I got 1,000 olive trees, so I got confused. Anyhow. What did we say? The 5 steps through... No.
I'm all shook up.
Quoting Einstein, our minds are like parachutes. They only work when they open.
Einstein.
Senza l'H. Okay. It's not Einstein, it's Einstein. Einstein! Wasn't he German? Austrian. Well.
Oops, he was actually German. Sorry.
Oh, the difference between Austrians and Germans is like the difference between a battleship and a waltz.
They don't know. They can't tell Serbia from Senegal.
Einstein! I actually burned my... Come si chiama? Tons, not tons. I wasn't warmed up. Freak. I should... Yola. Before I start doing this stuff. I went all in from the get-go.
That's what she said.
Anyhow, what do you say? Improve your thinking by reading to improve.